I know we have a non-negligible amount of European viewers that also watch the LCS, and I know that you're probably watching this after the road show is currently ongoing for MCoy. So welcome. Yes, I'm still very much jealous of you, but hey, we got some pretty good games this weekend. I mean, everybody does, but like LCS more so than most. Let's talk about it. In case you've been living under a rock, you haven't seen the rumors, the reports, here's the headlines as you need to know them going into this weekend. Yes, it is now confirmed that Lion will be running a 6-man roster with Castle and Dokla. Now, additional information has come out since that announcement saying that this was apparently a request from either ownership or players. Some people would just immediately jump to ownership whenever coaching staff said that they didn't request this. We have no clue who could have brought that on. This is not specific, so I hope people are just not taking it one way or the other. All that you need to know is that coaching staff didn't plan on changing this roster. But regardless, it is a big shakeup for a top 3 contender that needs to finish top 2 to, at minimum, go to an international event with MSI, or top 1 to go to EWC as well as MSI. Because DSG is now short a top laner, they are bringing in Surdy, of which head coach Ido has since come out and clarified for folks that Surdy was their first choice, both due to availability, he's there and ready to play, but also due to skill. There were reports from Surdy's chat, if you watch whenever he confirmed that this was going to be a thing, that an LCK challenger player was going to be the one coming in. Ido has basically said that's a non-story as of right now. Sounds like everything will be open in the offseason, but they're not committing to anything one way or the other. So I'm glad he has a preference for North American talent and developing guys here because it's really, really refreshing to see. And if that's a trend that hopefully can continue elsewhere, then maybe we'll be in a good spot. Beyond that, I know this is not LCS directly related, but it still somewhat is in the sense of its North American League of Legends. Jinxie's grind through League of Legends has been going pretty well to the point where he also is having a 40-person tournament this upcoming Monday, so we won't get to talk before that event actually happens. Well, we'll get to talk a little bit, not significantly about anything. If you need weekday league, that'll be your spot to watch. That'll give you something to tune into because I'll come back to this topic here in a minute. There's just some few other headlines I got to get through real quick. If you happen to live in New York City and you want to come watch League of Legends live with us, we'll be doing a watch party for the Team Liquid versus C9 series and all the Saturday matches for that matter next week at OSNYC. So if you're in the area, whether you live here or you're traveling, doesn't matter. Come out. We're going to have a good time. I'll have the co-stream live as well. Should be a blast. And yes, finals tickets in general are still on sale for the Arizona State University Mullet Arena. Be sure to go get them if you want them. Just continuing to raise awareness for this in any way, shape, or form that I can. I know they've mentioned it a billion times on the broadcast. They're trying to sell tickets. They're not selling all that quick, but I'm doing my part to try and help out with that in any way. So in terms of league macro news, it's weird because it feels like a lot of things have happened this week. However, I don't know about you all, but I feel very isolated in terms of it's Thursday night as of recording this, and it feels like there's really not much going on or not much to say, purely because the win did get taken out of the sails of the Castle move last week. But on top of that, you also have the Koi Roadshow this week, and this was the first week that we did not see weekday games. So it is, at least to me, I don't know about anybody else, but to me, it has felt very dry this week. And I think it is put back into the front of my mind the importance of really trying to push for online games or a third-party tournament or something ongoing during the summer split, because this feels really weird. I can't imagine going back to a full split in summer where it's just Saturday, Sunday games whenever you have the LCK that's going on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You have the LEC, which is 3 days a week, albeit their schedule's very wonky due to the road shows, but ultimately that's fine. It leads up to insanely hype moments like the KC road trip and the MCoy road trip this upcoming weekend. For the LCS, it very much feels like we're just kind of existing there to a certain extent. So I want to see something get spruced up a little bit. And this relates to a conversation that Jat and Vedius were having on Mind the Gap, which is what format, what change could you possibly make to make the domestic leagues more entertaining? Because despite the fact that we are going into a very beefy part of the regular season, the final 2 weeks, the matchups are great from both top to bottom, and then you go immediately into playoffs, it is clear that interest is still waning in the domestic leagues in general. And when you're part of the one region that genuinely is not hitting the road until finals, it is a very honestly just a hard pill to swallow. Like, I'm excited for this weekend's upcoming games, but it feels like the days to get there are so long for me. I don't want to assume that that's just me, so I genuinely want to ask you guys if you're feeling the same way. I put out on Twitter, like, just asking people, what are your format suggestions? And mine remains pretty much consistent, where I just want to copy the VCT style, which is have a full open bracket, bring back weekday games in some capacity, but again, just move all the stuff online with the intent of getting out on the road more, not just finals, road shows that are happening in apparently like Arizona and beyond. Like, we need more. We do. We just blanketly need more. And I think going to just tournament style with finals on the road, or even like road trips for part of that, like, I don't know how you want to make this work within the financial context of the LCS, because I know we are very much like bleeding money in certain areas. Impossible to know what is actually doable versus what's not, versus needed cash injection or beyond. I know this is a very kind of like open-ended thing, and I noted in the comments of that video, it's like we do a great job of articulating what we don't want, but very rarely do we have the full answers of what we do want. My biggest thing is like, give me a New York event that I can build towards. I know I keep saying that in every video, but like sometimes you just got to speak it into existence. I'm sorry. I'll move on. I know this is getting a lot. Let's go to fantasy. The Shinewalkers continue to grow and be very strong. 717 members, and the link will be down below in the description if you want to join the league. Actually, 717 is the area code that I grew up in, which is kind of crazy. I'm sitting 441st, which, looking at this past week, I mean, just going by round 5, let's go by the individual round. 184. I had 125, which wasn't terrible, but also very much middle of the pack. And that is just, again, due to the fact that I'm sitting here with a DSG call me mid lane, and then the jungle, I got Kryra. So I'm just like, I've got no budget. There's really nothing I can do. Like, 0.5 points doesn't allow me an upgrade anywhere. I have faith in Yon and Core JJ, having Thanatos for C9 and then Lion as a team. Like, I just took a risk and I'm screwed. Hate to keep saying that point. But this week is actually going to be interesting because you have a lot of close matchups. So I could see a lot of points from DSG if they're able to rebound and beat Dignitas. So that could elevate me at least a little bit. Maybe get enough points and market values to the point where I can buy somebody different. But for now, I'm kind of just chilling to wait and see what happens here. In terms of the league itself, in the bleak midwinter is currently first and leading. Looking at the last round, Gakos, Blabber, Quad, Yon, Core JJ, and Rainover. So a combination of FlyQuest, C9, and Team Liquid players. Probably smart. I would have been smart to do the same thing at the beginning of the year. I didn't. So that's where we stand. Dear God, let's get to the matchups. I am so happy that Jap pointed this out on Mind the Gap, because I think it's great branding for the next 2 weeks, which is we are basically having a Legends group and a Fries group for the LCS, which I'll put a little, ticker adjustment thing here that I think is incredible, because you are going to have the bottom 4 teams as of the standings right now all playing off against each other over the, did I say that right? Playing off against, facing off against each other. All facing off against each other over the next 2 weeks. Same thing for the top 4. Team Liquid, for example, is going to be playing Lion this week, C9 the next. C9 plays FlyQuest. C9 then goes on the week afterwards to play Team Liquid, and then Lion plays FlyQuest. So, like, a mixed match of the two. We have a 2-week mini Fries and Legends group, which is awesome. It should make for some incredible games all weekend, assuming these guys are actually close and it wasn't just like the top 3 are clearly above everybody else and then there actually is this middle gap. Assuming the bottom 5 are all close to each other, bottom 4, FlyQuest, I would put more towards the Fries group than the Legends group. This should be good. Now, I don't say this to diminish like the excitement that exists for Lion versus TL and C9 versus FlyQuest. That's amazing. Both of those series will be fun. But the genuine importance of every single game between Shopify Sen and DSG Dig cannot be understated. All of these guys, with the exception of Dignitas, are sitting at 1 win, 1 series win. And Dig winning a series here gives them the head-to-head over DSG, but they wouldn't have the head-to-head over Shopify going into the final week. Like, every single result here matters. So what do I think is going to happen? First and foremost, I put my prediction out there before that. I think every series could go to 3 games, and I hope it does for maximum entertainment value. But between Shopify and Sentinels, I'm expecting Sentinels to finally get their stuff together a little bit here. that bot lane feels potent. I get they are choking against top teams and not performing, but yet somehow they qualify for EWC because, EWC because it's online. No, I gotta believe that this squad is better than they're showing right now, better than their record. And Shopify, I'm not convinced on anything. Like, I feel bad saying this, but like the worst performing player by a wide margin on this team is Zinni. But because he's a rookie, we give him more time and more chances. But it's not like anybody else on this team, barring B-Voy, is able to carry the weights. And even then, like, Fed ADC, well, if your whole team's dying around you so quickly, like, there's only so much you can do. Or if your Annie is using her Tibbers and then dying before a fight begins, like, you're just screwed. And there's nothing you can do. So I'm expecting Sentinels to take this series. Maybe they have a little bit of those choking nerves that drop a game. But I just don't see, from the 5 series that we've watched so far, a pathway for Shopify to level up to the point where they can win this. Even if it is a lower opponent, sure. And they were able to take care of Dig earlier in the split, sure. Sen feels like they have more going for them. And for that reason alone, I'm going with Sen 2-1. DSG versus Dig, I mean, DSG is just on a slump. Like, it's been bad. Again, top teams going against them, but the bot lane has not been playing all that well. I don't think there's really any bright lights on this roster at the moment in terms of current form, other than the one player that they lost. So now you're bringing in Surdy, who by all means could be great in lane and could get the better of Photon, because actually he did play against Photon whenever he was in the league, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be somewhat of a familiar matchup for him. But it's the rest of DSG that I'm just worried about not being able to get to the point where they can team fight well. So I weirdly enough, I'm feeling Dig. Like, FBI's done enough for me to be excited. Palafox, not so much. Not really. And XU, like, is great one game and then just horrific the next. Like, it's such a ping pong between the two that you never know which one's going to show up, which makes this impossible to predict. But I am going to say Dignitas 2-1 here. I just feel like, for whatever reason, it's more likely to come up heads. And DSG slump just feels like something that, until they show me more, I'm not willing to predict it. Sorry. As hypey as the Legends group matchups are, I actually think this week is going to be a little bit more lopsided than it would have been had Lion not been going through some issues. C9 versus Fly, yes, there's the potential for Fly to take the upset, but for the most part, I think this should be C9 favored. They just look better in the regular season. This is not C9's problematic period. Masu, though, has been playing phenomenal. Like, the bot lane difference here is where I expect Fly to get advantages. And Gatgos, if he's on a carry, then maybe. But C9's team fighting, I just feel like is better at the current moment. I just genuinely feel like it is better. And you can kind of read Griffin a little bit more unless he is bringing something new to the table, or like not getting into some of the habits that we see him get into against top teams, where like he really tries to force a play against his own best interest. Sometimes you need to learn to just back off and take a win elsewhere, or like not taking a loss kind of is a win. So we'll see, but I feel pretty good on the C9 front. And same thing for Team Liquid versus Lion here. Look, Castle can come in and lane great, and I think the macro of Lion is still going to be good, but I feel like they're going to be using these 2 weeks to really work out the kinks in this roster with Castle there, and splitting scrim time is just going to be, it's going to put a weird taint on these final 2 weeks. I think on playoffs, they'll be fine. They will figure out what exactly they want to do. However, Team Liquid has shown me enough, and obviously I'm biased on this one, that yeah, I feel pretty good with it. Also 2-1 TL. Again, expecting everybody to drop a game for the sake of entertainment. That's the bet. But overall, that's how I feel like it's going to go. Again, I know this is going to be a very difficult weekend for some of us here in North America. Those of us that watch both the LEC and the LCS, it is going to be a very like jarring and drastic change going from the stadium to, again, our arena with no fans. But I hate to say you got to power through it. That's not the way we should be talking about the LCS, but I also can't mince my words and hide my feelings on this, that like at least the matchups are going to be hyped. That is like the one thing that you got to have a lot of excitement for. And I'll be here with the coach stream on Saturday and then later on Sunday. But man, Europe, I'm just jealous. I really am.